Welcome back to the channel. So it is the day after Truck Fest Southwest down at the Bath and West Showground. It shipped to Mallet and already had a busy morning. So monster truck there got really dirty. It's absolutely covered in dust. So we got it out the trailer this morning and we've got all the dust off of it, washed it. Also, where it landed on its side, it actually got some grass stuck in the bead of the tyre. So I've took the tyre off the bead, re-inflated it, and that's all good. But at the show, we had a bad vibration with the truck now. It's something in the driveline, so it could be anywhere, either in the front axle or the back axle, or even in the transfer case. So today, I'm going to start to investigate and try and find out where the vibration is coming from. It only happens when you're barely on the throttle. So if you're hard on the throttle accelerating, it's fine. If you're on the brakes, braking, it's fine. Anywhere in between, it vibrates. My truck doesn't normally vibrate. So it's better to catch it now than have a failure at a show. So I'm going to start on the front axle. We'll start taking that one apart first, and then we'll work on the back axle. Also at the show, a lot of people were asking about the taxi. Now, because it's show season, we're absolutely flat at the moment, so the taxi is taking a little bit of a back burner, but we will be getting back on with it when the shows start to die down a little bit, but they've still got all of September to go through before it even starts to slow down. We've even got shows in October and that. But yeah, so we will be back on with a taxi soon. So let's start jacking this truck up, getting the wheels off, starting to strip her down the Planetaries, so then we can take off all the prop shaft and then we can pull the front diff out and have a look at that one first. But it's going to be a busy day. Okay, so this is the Planetary on the monster truck. So this, easiest way to explain it to you, it's another gearbox on the end of an axle. This is what does a lot of the gear reduction on the monster truck. So if you watch a lot of these sort of videos, you might have seen Mikey from V2 Viz. Now these are a Clark Planetary. He runs a Pettibone, so they're slightly different. So he's got 4 gears inside here. I've only got the 3, and they're held on a little bit different. But let's take this apart, and I'll try and do it as quickly as I can, so we don't have to do it on time lapse. So I've got everything ready. Let's get on with it. The way I do it is I put all the bolts in a tray in an order. So when I come to put it back, I know exactly where each and every bolt goes. So that is the cover off, and now this thing is full of oil on the inside, and of course it's going to be Lucas oil. So then we just get a screwdriver and just wedge it in the gap and try and prise it open and let the oil out. Now you can, there's an oil drain, but we'll do that in a minute. This is the quickest way. So look how clean the oil is in here. Just like brand new, just like when we put it in. So we're going to let that drain. I'm just going to go get a socket so I can undo the drain plug. Well, I said socket, is actually just a 1/2 inch drive. That's what fits in there to undo it. And this one is quite an unusual ratchet. So normally with a ratchet you just go backwards and forwards, but on this one, if you turn the handle, I don't know if you can see that. If you turn the handle, it still turns the thing. So it's quite handy if you're in a tight space and you want to ratchet it and you can't, you can just turn the handle and it undoes. But So that's that bit off. Really finished draining the oil. This is a magnet, so there's any bits of metal that would end up on there. So there's nothing on there at all. So that bit is good. So there's no vibration in that. Let's just undo the wheel tether quickly. Keep all that together. Okay, so then I've got these blue tubs. These are actually lids off methanol barrels, which I chop off. So just grab that, drop it straight into there. Now we can rotate this round now and let the oil drip out the bottom. So that's where the drain plug is in this. Next thing to do is undo the wheel nut. Let's get a rag and wipe my hands. Just smacking the tab out the way. Get my socket I've made. That fits on there. So with these, I keep these in the order they come off. So that's that one out. So that's come off like that. So that side goes down, goes into the tray. Pull off the locking ring. That's the bit I was tapping. That's it. So we got the locking ring out. Right. Now onto the other wheel nut. So that's that piece out. Now what we do next is we put the drain plug back in now. Move the oil out of the way. Now I can do this on a crane if I want to, but just for this video I'm just going to lift it off because it's just a lot quicker. So that is the wheel bearing, so the inner wheel bearing, so we put that back in there. And we've just got to take the dust cover out, but we drop that into another pot. This is a dust seal for the wheel bearing. Just tap that back in. So that is basically the gearbox part of it removed now. So next piece we take out this. This is called the spindle. This is what everything sits on. The thing with the spindles, not all the bolts are the same length. So the top 3 and the bottom 3 are different lengths to the other ones. So we take them out first. And they stay in one tray. Now all the rest of the bolts are all the same length. So that is the spindle. And the next part of it, this is the drive shaft. Careful to get it out in one piece. Just got to try and slide it through the seal now. So that is one side completely removed now. Just got to do the same to the other side and then we can pull the front diff out. Okay, so I've stripped down the other side and when I was taking it apart I noticed it didn't feel right. Something has gone wrong. That should be nice and smooth. So I think some bearings have collapsed in here. So let's take this apart to find out what's the matter. I can safely say that that is broken. So yeah, that's the bottom kingpin. That's the bit that does all the work and you can see it's broken it. There, as I'm rotating it now, look, everything falls apart. So it's cracked that bit of it there. It's also cracked the bottom race in there. So that's why the steering was feeling a little bit funny on it because it was grabbing. So let's put a new bearing into that. We check this to make sure that is straight and then we can fix that and then we can get on to taking out the diff. So the diff is now out. So it's in very, very good condition. There's just a little bit of play on the engagement. So this diff's been in there quite a while now. It's probably been in there, I'd have thought, probably nearly a year, this diff. So if I just, you can just hear that. Can't really, if I put it on wide angle, that's it, a bit better. So what I'm doing is I'm putting the load into the pinion. And you can just hear that little bit of movement before. So I'll just do it really slowly. So, and then it rotates. So what we're going to do, we're going to adjust that. So all I'm doing, I'm just spinning this. Got that little bit of movement there before it moves the pinion. So what we got to do, we got to move this closer to the pinion. So we got to, this is where the adjustment is on these axle, on these diffs. So we're going to wind this one this way and that one in, which actually gives it more engagement onto the pinion, which is right down at the back there. So let's do some adjustment and see if we can get this little bit of movement eliminated. So I've now adjusted the diff. So now the movement on the back, if I just spin it round, look at that. Hardly anything, and look, if you move it, it has got good engagement now. So I've put some blue onto here, and spun it, and it wipes it off nice and clean. It doesn't leave too much behind. It's not too deep in there. So that one is good to go back in. So just got to degrease everything now. So we don't have a gasket, we just have silicone on there and then silicone around there, and everything just glues back in. Yeah, so let's get that back in. We use a winch to put it in. The winch is just up in there, so there's no lifting to get that piece back in the truck. Okay, so the diff is back in on the truck. All the prop shaft is mounted, the brake caliper's mounted. Just got to fit some new EBC brake pads, which they make a special one just for me for that. But doing the investigation on the champagne, it is bent, and I think that's where some of the vibration might be coming from. So this lip here is starting to come up. So it's come up 5 mil from that one. So it's quite tight in there with these, and I'm not sure if you can see on that. You can just see it. There's like a little rub mark on it. So that might have been touching, and that might have been the vibration that we was feeling when we was driving the truck. But that front diff is done now. I'm happy with that. I'm gonna put a new champagne on with new bearings and everything. So now I've got the champagne off, you can see that this edge here is starting to bend up, and that's what the problem is. I think the drive shaft was just catching it here. So there's my new one I've got to put on, and there it is, all stripped down. So it doesn't rely on the bolts to hold it on there. So it's got this nice edge on it, and that edge actually fits into here, and that's what registers this, and then the bolts hold it all in to stop it moving. So we're not relying on the bolts, it actually relies on that flange and the bolts to hold it in the flange to keep it on the truck. So let's get this one on, and then we can start reassembling the axle. So we're on the last few bolts of now of getting this new champagne on. So I've just got a few more bolts around the top, and then we can reconnect the anti-roll bar, all the shocks. I leave that bracket on because that one bolts all the way through. Yeah, so we're nearly done at getting this done. All then we got to do is clean up the knuckle and grease all the bearings and put new bearings in it, and then you can reset the kingpins. Okay, so yesterday when we had the knuckle on, when you was turning it, it was really grabby because that bearing had gone. So now we got the new champagne on, re-shimmed everything, so there's no play in anywhere, and it turns really nice. So all we've got to do now is put the dust cover on the back of it again, and then put the drive shaft or the inner axle and outer axle in it, and then we put the wheel spindle on, and then we can get to start to put in the end to the front axle, and then we can start on the back. So on the truck, while we've got everything apart, we've just put a new sway bar in it. So this is the anti-roll bar. It's slightly different bolts and caps, so we had to mess around with that because this is the one that's come out. And this is why we've changed it, because it's starting to twist. And you see it's starting to twist on the splines, and that's on the verge of breaking. So I'd rather have it change it now than have it break. Also, on this I had a broken stud in there, and the way I got it out is just when it's broken off, it's broken very far the way down. That's how far down it snapped. So I've been welding just on top of it on long enough so then I can get a pair of mole grips on the top and then wind that broken stud out. I just got to do a little bit of cleaning. This is look, only got a couple of little bits of splatter on it. Just got to clean that up, and then we can get this Planetary back on, and then that'll be the front axle finished. Okay, so we're on the final bit of redoing this front axle. So since we last did it, the Planetaries are all on, it's all siliconed up, the wheel tether's back on. Last thing to do is to put the oil in. The most important bit, putting the oil in. And of course we're using this Lucas hub oil. So we've already got some Lucas gear oil in there, but we run a hub oil as well, and this makes it so it sticks and it climbs all over the gears. It's quite thick, but it's quite useful because we can actually use the old containers. They actually screw straight into the top of the Planetaries, so we can just squeeze it in and then leave it, and then it's done. So yeah, so we got just got to do the diff in a minute, and then that, put the wheels back on, and this one's finished. Front axles all back together, everything's looking good. Back axle's done as well. It's got new anti-roll bars on it. It's still covered up at the morning, it's still a little bit early in the morning. And a new anti-roll bar on the back. So it's day one here at the European Finals at Santa Pod. It's a Friday, which is quite an unusual day, but it's a really unusual day because our great queen passed away yesterday. So today's going to be a little bit different. We're still doing the shows. We're having a 2-minute silence as a mark of respect throughout the weekend, and I've taken off the Lucas flag and I've put up a Union Jack just for this weekend, just to show our respect. All the other flags are flying at half mast. Yeah, it's going to be a different show. Got the battery charger on and the oil heater on, just warming it up so we can do our first show at 1:30.
Mercedes looks pretty solid. In 3, 2, 1, skywheelie it on. Watch the front end. And that's a skywheelie because all the drivers think. Again, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, hit it, folks. Ready, count me down, here we go, in 3, 2, 1, go! Ready, count me down again for the final time, part 1, in 3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, so I'm going to take you for a ride in Swamp Thing. Now, it's not the one you normally see me in, it's this one! So we're in the Mini Monster Truck Mania Swamp Thing. So if you're at a show and you see this, you can actually drive Swamp Thing or one of their other UK monster trucks. So you've got the Podzilla truck, you've got the Pandemonium, which is chasing me, which is driven by Lucas. And then on the other side there, Georgina is driving Grim Reaper. Make sure you check out Mini Monster Truck Mania if they're at a show. You can drive it on your own if you're a kid. Also, you can actually drive it. Oh, I've been overtaken! There's no respect from the little ones. The little ones beat you up when you're driving it. They take the racing line. Wow! I think Georgina's catching me up. I think I've got a disadvantage because I am a little bit heavier, so I think I'm going to be overtaken yet again. I think I better pull into the pit lane and I'll hand it over to the professionals. So this is Gary, the man behind Mini Monster Truck Mania. What is it about, Gary?
To be fair, Tony, it's all about the excitement of the kids' faces when they come off the monster trucks. You know, we get kids from the age of 4-year-old up to 18-year-olds who want to drive them, especially yours. When we're at the show, when they see you driving, they come down to us, they get to experience driving on Mini Swamp Thing, and that just makes the whole day. Sums it up, they're fun.
And you do shows all around the UK?
All around the UK, a lot where we are this weekend, Sackpod, for the Euros, but yeah, up and down the length and breadth of the country.
And if they wanted to find out more about you, where can they find that?
Mini Monster Truck Mania, info at Mini Monster Truck Mania on the website, Facebook page. Yeah, it's got all our details, phone numbers, the whole lot. So yeah.
Okay, well I think we'll call that a wrap there because
it's
started. It's going to rain, it started.
Yeah, melting down. See you later guys, take care.
So it's day 2 here at the European Finals at Santa Pod. God, we was up against it yesterday with the weather. It was raining, it was sunny. They was having loads of problems on the track with the rain and in the sun, and then had a couple of oil downs. But yes, we're all ready for day 2. We've changed some of the cars in the stack. So we got yesterday we had a nice Mercedes, and today we've got a big Jaguar, so we're going to see how that turns out. So both the trucks are ready. Still got to probably do a little bit of work on Terry's car. I think one of the shock absorbers is broken on that. But the other problem we've got in the arena, I forgot to tell you about it yesterday. In between the shows they have a road sweeper, and they road sweep the arena just to keep it nice and clean. The road sweeper had a problem with it, and the guy who operated it didn't realise it, and if you can see all the black and dark area, that is oil. It blew a hydraulic line and he's put 70 litres of oil over most of the arena. And yesterday in the first show it rained, it turned into an ice rink. So yeah, so we got to be really careful this weekend. It's super it's not too bad if it's dry, but if the rain comes, which we got dark skies over this morning, it's not forecasting rain, hopefully it'll blow away, but yeah, it's super slippy. So let's see how we got on later on today.
Swing stopping on the bonnet of the car. Lifts it, swing, dropping down. 1, 2, 3, yeah! You just know he's itching to lift that foot off the brake, he really is. When we make it big, one more part. Massive paper trail, massive rain out. The first part has got the damage. What happens to the what a slide wheel. 2
going around between the shows, making sure that Tony hasn't bent anything and that everything is still tight and safe, ready for the second show. This is what people don't see behind the scenes, because all they see is the action out in the arena. But this is just as important. Sounds daft, but Tony, with years he's been doing it and the experience, he knows what comes loose and what parts we need to check that could be terminal, not only for the truck but be a danger to the crowd. So we've got to make sure that it's safe every time we go out in the arena, and then go through the same procedure that we're doing now every time it comes back out. Bit of a rush today because we haven't got that long between the shows, but all good so far. No cracks, nothing bent so far, and nothing loose, so hopefully it stays that way.
Okay, so you might have noticed we've got a new sticker on the truck. Let's get Georgina to explain what it is and how you can get involved.
So this sticker is from Beam Monsters, which is a mod for Beam-NGdrive. It allows you to drive Swamp Thing in a video game with loads of other trucks.
So what platform is it on?
It's on PC, so you can't play it on Xbox or PlayStation, unfortunately.
And where do you download it from? Because I'm a bit new to this.
You get it from Steam.
So I know what Steam is. I'll pull it out. So it's Beam-NGdrive.
Yeah.
And then it's a mod. And
Yeah.
where do you get the mod from?
You get the mod from beammonsters.com.
All right. So and you can even drive your favourite Monster Jam trucks, all the Monster Jam track. It's really good. Check it out. We might have to do that bit again because our dragster just started up.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could even drive your favourite Monster Jam tracks on your favourite Monster Jam tracks that you might have seen. Yeah, it's a really good, and it's really realistic as well. So yeah, even drive Swamp Thing in the game. So we've just finished the second show. The track is now back open. It's been down a little bit today. You can hear everything going off. So this is some of the action that happened on the track. While that's happening, we're just setting up for tomorrow's show for day 3. So we're resetting all the cars. Matt is working on my truck, just doing the last few checks on it now. So yeah, so Swamp Thing, we had a problem in the first show. The electric rear steering had a short in it and it wouldn't let me center up the well, it wouldn't let the steering work at all. I could only turn it left, so it ended up doing crabbing. So we had to, we did manage to get one jump in, but we couldn't do the second jump because it was, I couldn't get it in a straight line. So just setting up the cars now. So we got Drew and Gary driving the Podzilla truck here at Santa Pod. So we're just tidying up. I've got the broom now, just so we can sweep all the debris underneath the car, and then we can get out in the road sweeper, the new road sweeper, because the other one had that oil leak, what I was talking about earlier. Yeah, and it does not make some smoke in the arena when you do donuts on oil. So yeah, let's get all the sweeping these, all the debris back under the cars and getting it all reset for day 3.
The first jump. It's a little bit different on the second jump because it flattens them down and it creates this ramp where you can get more distance. But the first one, I'm telling you, Sky Wheelie champion, this man, and it makes some brilliant camera footage. As loud as you can. Are you ready? Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Sky Wheelie.
So, you know a lot about Swamp Thing. We don't know too much about Podzilla, and we're quite lucky. Gary from Podzilla is here. Right, Gary?
How you doing? You right?
Yeah. So tell us about Podzilla.
Podzilla. Podzilla's like you, we're methanol fueled, we're supercharged V8. We are not quite pushing the horsepower you are. We're 7.7 litre, but I think we're sort of 1400, 1500 horsepower, where I think you're 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got a bit more poke than us. But we only run at Santa Pod, so we've got a small arena that we always run in. So this truck's kind of suits our environment. But yeah, much the same in a lot of aspects. We're still running the same 66-inch tyres. We still sit in the middle of the cab. Yeah, it's almost the same, but
the chassis is
Yeah.
quite a bit different. So if you notice how long the falling bars are, they're a lot longer than Swamp Thing. So also the points are all in the same place, so they're all just off the centre line of the chassis. So it's actually, I think it's actually got a longer wheelbase.
never a quiet moment at Santa Pod.
It's never quiet here. Yeah, so we have to keep stopping for that. Also, your transfer case is completely different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's got no gear adjustment in the transfer case, so you're gear limited.
It is. It's a homemade kind of thing rather than a bespoke purchased item. And yeah, we have no adjustment, so our top speed is lower than unfortunately you can run.
Yeah.
But yeah, we make the best of what we got.
Yeah, but let's take you up into the cab, because the cab in this truck is really bespoke. I've never been in another monster truck like it. Let's take you up in the cab. Oh, just climbing up into Podzilla with Gary. So if you look at this, I've never seen a monster truck with a dashboard that looks like that. So it even tells you what it is. It's got loads and loads of interesting displays on this. So,
You just turned the battery.
I've just turned the battery isolator off with my knee, as I'm in. So at the moment that's in park, I take it, yeah?
That's it.
So now that's in reverse, neutral, third gear, second gear. So yeah, so you can see what gear it is actually on the dashboard. And what's this one doing, Gary?
So that's telling us the position of the rear wheels. So currently they are straight and pointing in the straight direction, and also I can see with the centre square there, it's self-centering's turned on.
Ah, so that's off. I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
So if that's off,
Yeah.
so now it'll just stay wherever you leave it.
Exactly, yeah. We'll carry on crab driving if we wanted to, and we just drop that on to tell me I've got self-centering back on again.
Yeah. Oh, that is really cool.
Yeah, it was all when I first joined Drew, when Drew was driving the truck, we had a load of electrical gremlins on it, and it used to do my head in. We'd be chasing wiring issues, and there'd be a broken cable. So we just spent one winter on it where we just started at the front and completely rewired it, and yeah, made that up, did a little bit of fancy stuff with it. It's only an Arduino I've got in there, so nothing too crazy, but yeah, made a nice little display, and we've got everything sort of at our fingertips now, because the idea with the shifter indicator was when you strapped in, you can't see where your gear shifter
Yeah,
is.
I can't see mine. I just have to count it.
Yeah, a problem with Podzilla is our gearbox is the opposite way to you. So our third gear is right next to neutral.
Yeah.
So I have to shift forward. So the last thing I want to do is think I'm in second and shift to third.
It's shifted the wrong way. We're actually jamming it into first.
I'll be shifting it into neutral. So I go.
Right.
If I go one too many, I'll go second. If I get that out by one, I'll go there, and it's a bit embarrassing when you're on the rev limiter and not going anywhere.
Right, yeah.
That was kind of why I did it, because I just, sometimes miss gears.
Yeah, and so your rear steering is on
On the shifter, yeah.
So that's on the gear stick there.
Yeah,
on the
so
shifter, yeah.
just
the same as yours, and the self-centering's on the front.
Yeah. So mine's not on the, mine's up on the
Yeah,
dashboard on mine, but
the operation's kind of the same. We'd steer left, that would go left, that would go right, and yeah.
Cool. And the visibility out of this truck is actually a lot better than mine. The bonnet is a lot flatter, so you can actually see out quite well on it. And then you got your tack gauge and all your methanol on and off is down there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just thought you'd just take you around.
Something different. Yeah.
Something different for a change.
Just to know what you knew.